7 bottles, 1 distillery, 1 mash bill. Prices ranging from $22 to $120. In a forum commenter who poured all 7 completely blind came back with a ranking that did not match the price tags at all. Today, I am going to show you exactly why and exactly what Brown-Forman is charging you for when the blind data says the liquid is not doing it. Welcome back to Behind the Barrel. Old Forester is America's oldest continuously produced bourbon brand. Brown-Forman had been making it since 1870. The Whiskey Road Distillery in Louisville sits on the National Register of Historic Places. The heritage is genuine, the history is real. The price ladder they've built around it is a different conversation entirely. 7 bottles, the same 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% malted barley mash bill running through most of them. The same distillery, the same water, the same Kentucky climate maturing every cask. But somehow, the price goes from $22 to $120. Today we find out what those extra $98 are actually buying and whether the blind data agrees it is worth it.
Here's the investigation framework that changes how you see this entire lineup. Brown-Forman did not build the Old Forester Whiskey Row series because 7 different price points produce 7 meaningfully different expressions. They built it because a heritage brand with a genuine story can support a premium pricing architecture. And premium pricing architecture generates margin that honest single-tier pricing cannot. The mechanism is simple. Take 1 distillery, 1 core mash bill, add age statements, proof variations, historical stories, film tie-ins, and limited production narratives. Attach ascending price tags that imply ascending quality. Then hope nobody pours them blind. Because when somebody pours them blind, as that forum commenter did, the price ladder and the quality ladder diverge significantly. Let me show you exactly where they diverge and what it costs you.
Starting at the bottom. Number 7. Old Forester 86 Proof, $22. The flagship, the everyday expression, the one Brown-Forman built the brand on for over 150 years before they decided a price ladder would be more profitable than a single honest expression. At 86 proof, it is bottled at the comfortable, accessible end of the proof spectrum. The mash bill does its reliable work. Sweet corn, light rye spice, gentle oak. Nothing challenging, nothing offensive, nothing that demands your attention. The blind data is consistent here. This is the entry point. It tastes like the entry point. The $22 price is honest. The problem is not the 86 proof. The problem is what comes next. Number 6, Old Forester 1870, $45. Here is where the price ladder first asks you to pay for a story the liquid cannot tell you back. 1870 costs $23 more than the 86 proof flagship. For that $23, you receive 4 additional proof points, 90 proof versus 86, and a warehouse batching story. Brown-Forman selects barrels from 3 different warehouse locations and blends them for complexity. The blind data says you cannot taste the warehouse batching story. What you can taste is 4 extra proof points and marginally more presence on the palate. Is that worth $23 extra? The forum commenter ranked it 6th out of 7, 1 position above the entry-level expression. $23 extra, 1 position of improvement in blind tasting. You were paying for the 1870 founding year on the label, not for what is in the bottle.
Number 5. Old Forester Statesman, $55. Statesman requires the most honest disclosure in this entire investigation. This bottle exists because of a Hollywood movie. In 2017, Brown-Forman partnered with the film Kingsman: The Golden Circle for a product placement deal. Statesman was created as the tie-in bourbon. When the film came and went, Brown-Forman decided the expression was worth keeping as a permanent release. At $55 in 94 proof, Statesman is a genuine bourbon. It is not a bad bottle. The extra proof over the 1870 expression adds body and presence. But every time you pay $55 for Statesman, you are paying partial residual value on a film partnership that Brown-Forman turned into a permanent revenue stream. The blind community scores it in the middle of the lineup. Not exceptional, not poor. Exactly what a bourbon designed for a movie tie-in and then repurposed as a shelf expression should taste like.
Number 4. Old Forester 1897 Bottled in Bond, $50. Now the investigation turns interesting. 1897 Bottled in Bond is the most overlooked bottle in this entire lineup, and the blind data is consistent that it should not be. Breaking Bourbon, one of the most thorough blind tasting sources in the American whiskey space, called it a great nose, full and fruit-forward flavor profile, and an outstanding finish. At 100 proof, the Bottled in Bond standard demands something Statesman at 94 proof does not: genuine age, single distillery, single season, government-supervised production. The Bottled in Bond designation is the most transparent and rigorous production standard in American whiskey. It costs $50, $5 less than Statesman. Nothing about the 1897 label screams for attention. The design is restrained. The name communicates production integrity rather than brand mythology, which is precisely why it gets overlooked. Brown-Forman did not invest in marketing 1897 the way they invested in the rest of the Whiskey Row lineup, because a bottle that earns its price through production standards rather than brand mythology does not generate the same premium perception. It should be number 2 on this list. The blind data suggests it nearly is. Number 3. Old Forester 1924 10-year, $120. The most expensive bottle in the lineup. The only expression using a completely different mash bill, 79% corn, 11% rye, departing from the standard formula and carrying a genuine 10-year age statement. The whiskey reviewer compared it favorably to Michter's 10-year at $180. So what is the problem? The problem is that one bottle lower in this ranking costs $60 and beats 1924 in blind community data. At $120, 1924 is charging you for a different mash bill that delivers genuine additional character. A 10-year age statement that is real and meaningful, and the halo effect of being the most expensive bottle in a premium heritage series. The first two are legitimate. The third is pure pricing architecture. The whiskey reviewer's comparison to Michter's 10-year is fair, but Michter's 10-year costs $60 more than 1924. The honest question is not whether 1924 beats Michter's 10. The honest question is whether 1924 beats the $60 bottle one position below it in this lineup. In the blind data, the answer is frequently no. Number 2. Old Forester 1910 Old Fine Whiskey, $55. The most interesting story in the entire Whiskey Row lineup is true. In 1910, a fire broke out at the Old Forester bottling facility. Workers faced a decision about aged whiskey already in barrel. They transferred the maturing liquid into freshly charred new barrels to protect it. The result was a richer, darker, more complex bourbon than the standard expression, a happy accident that taught the distillery something about what double barreling does to their mash bill. The modern 1910 expression deliberately replicates that process. Every batch goes through a second maturation in freshly charred barrels. At $55 and 93 proof, it carries the genuine character that double barrel maturation produces: deeper caramel, richer vanilla, a chocolate note that the standard single barrel process does not deliver. The story is real. The liquid reflects the story. The price is justified. In the blind data, 1910 consistently outperforms expressions at twice its price from other distilleries. At $55, it is the second best value on this list. Number 1. Old Forester 1920 Prohibition Style, $60.
The blind data verdict is decisive, 4.04 out of 5 on Distiller, the highest community rating in the entire Old Forester portfolio. Gold medal at the 2023 San Francisco Spirits Competition. 89 out of 100 from booze makers, where it competed against bourbons at nearly double the price. At 115 proof, 1920 is the highest proof expression in the Whiskey Row lineup, and proof matters to what Old Forester's mash bill is capable of. At lower proof, the 72% corn dominates, sweet, accessible, gentle. At 115 proof, the 18% rye content finally has the space to make its full argument. The spice that the standard expressions whisper, 1920 says clearly. The nose is rich, caramel, dried fruit, baking spice, a dark chocolate note, complex in a way that $60 for American whiskey does not usually produce.
The palate delivers at full proof. Bold, layered, the mash bill working at its maximum capacity. The finish is long and evolving. For $60 from the same distillery making a $120 expression that the blind data says 1920 regularly outperforms, this is the most important bottle in the lineup. Not because it is cheap, because it is honest. The price reflects the liquid earns the price, and the $120 bottle one tier above it cannot consistently say the same. 7 bottles, 1 distillery, 1 mash bill for 6 of them. Here is the honest verdict on the price ladder. The 86 proof at $22 is honest. The 1870 at $45 is paying for a story. The Statesman at $55 is paying for a movie. The 1924 at $120 is genuinely good bourbon that is also genuinely overpriced relative to what sits below it in this lineup. The 1910 at $55 earned its price through a genuine production story that the liquid reflects.
And the 1920 at $60 is the blind data verdict, the bottle that proves the price ladder is not the quality ladder. Brown-Forman built a premium architecture around one of America's great bourbon brands. Some of it is justified. Some of it is charging you for heritage mythology that $60 of honest production is consistently outperforming. The blind data does not lie. Buy the 1920, consider the 1910, revisit the 1897 bottled in bond, and every time you reach for the $120 bottle, ask yourself what the forum commenter found when they poured it blind.
Which Old Forester expression do you think is genuinely worth its place on the price ladder, and which one do you think Brown-Forman is charging too much for? Drop your honest assessment in the comments. The blind tasting community on this channel knows this lineup better than any brand presentation ever will. Subscribe to Behind the Barrel for honest, unsponsored investigations into what is actually in your glass every single week. Drink less, drink better, and always check what is behind the barrel.